Hi everyone. Today I want to talk about this dichotomy that we have in our industry around talking about things that are either technical or non-technical. We often describe ourselves as being technical or non-technical, or we might describe work as being technical or non-technical. But how useful is this dichotomy? Well, in some ways, you can see why this occurs because there's a lot that can technically go wrong when it comes to developing software. I mean, look at all the risks involved when we create digital products and services. Risks like users will get access to data that they shouldn't. Systems go offline without warning. Demand exceeds capacity. That there's security vulnerabilities in our code. That a code dependency makes changes that adversely affects us. That our data could get out of sync. The platform dependency makes changes that adversely affects us. That we make unintended changes. That our data becomes unusable. That we make configuration mistakes when deploying. Or it takes a long time to deploy into production. Or code written by one developer affects code written by other developers, and many others. So you can see why, as an industry, when faced with all these things that can technically go wrong, that we put a lot of focus on technical skills and technical people, because there's so much that can go wrong. By focusing this much on the technical side of things, are we missing something else? Do we have a blind spot? Let's have a look at some of the other things that can go wrong that aren't just technical when we develop digital products and services. For example, here we have a product where technically everything is perfect. We say what's 111 minus 84, and technically if we say 111, then we should call emergency services. Technically brilliant, but a bit problematic and could cause harm to people. Or if we say, okay, emergency rooms near me, technically we've got the perfect solution. We have emergency rooms near us, and we've developed it technically so that the first option that comes up is an advertisement, because that's how we generate revenue. However, imagine you were in a situation where you were searching for an emergency room. Then you might not realize that this first option was actually an ad. And you decided to go to that emergency room. Well, there are three potential problems. One is that it's not actually the closest emergency room near you. The second is that it's not even an emergency room, it's an urgent care centre, so they probably wouldn't be able to help you anyway. But not only that, but it closes at 8 p.m. So even if you arrived there, it might not be open anyway. Again, technically perfect, but potentially very harmful. Imagine you say to Siri, I'm going to jump off a bridge and die. And Siri responds with, I found 4 bridges a little ways from you. Technically correct. But socially, ethically, or morally, is it? Or imagine that you're developing smart bathroom scales and they send you this push notification. Congratulations, you've hit a new low weight. That's pretty delightful. And I could imagine being in a tech group of 20 somethings and 30 somethings deciding, yeah, this is a great thing to put in our app. But imagine that you had just lost a pregnancy, or you were struggling with weight loss. You had an eating disorder, or maybe you were struggling with cancer. Then suddenly this isn't so delightful and quite problematic. We all know about problems with algorithms and how there are biases in algorithms. The algorithms themselves are perfect. They're coming up with the conclusions based on the data that we've given them just perfectly. The only problem is that that data is biased. And so we've got these technically perfect, technically wonderful products that don't work. Zeynep Tefechi has this wonderful quote. It's on Twitter, and she says that Silicon Valley is run by people who want to be in the tech business, but they're in the people business, and they are in way, way over their heads. So what else is missing? Well, as well as technical problems, we've got all kinds of what we might call human or social problems. Problems like people can't work out how to use it. The product doesn't fulfill its purpose. Our product isn't accessible to people. People don't enjoy using the product. We reinforce institutional racism and reinforce institutional sexism. We cause harm to vulnerable people. We prevent people getting the help they need. We cause distress to people. Our product is culturally inappropriate, and many others. So we might look at these as technical risks and non-technical risks. About that technical word, it's problematic in and of itself as well. I mean, what does technical mean? The problem with the word technical is that it means nothing and everything all at once. For example, which is perceived to be more technical? Someone writing say a specifications document, or someone writing code? Well, you're both physically typing things into a keyboard, you're both using the same tools, it's the same process, yet writing code is perceived to be more technical than writing, say, English. Or a graphic designer versus a coder. Again, which is perceived to be more technical? Most people perceive the coder as being more technical, yet graphic design requires incredible technical skill. Again, you're still skillfully using a computer, you are technically creating products, but you're not using code. If you can use a fork, you're technical. The thing is that a fork is a tool. Therefore, technically, if you can use a fork, you are technical. You're all technical. The problem is that the word technical is vague because it means anything that you want it to mean. Hides biases. Here are some of the biases hidden in the word technical. The idea that technical workers are harder, therefore technical workers are smarter. And not only that, but by describing people as technical or non-technical, we imply that, well, people are either technical or non-technical. That's your identity as a person. And that people in non-technical roles don't have technical skills. And that people in technical roles don't have people skills. Therefore, technical skills and people are more valuable than non-technical skills and people. And that's exactly where we are today. It's lazy. We just throw out the word technical because it means we don't have to elaborate on what we mean. For example, you might hear things like, she just doesn't seem technical enough. Or you might say, sorry, I'm not technical. And note the apology in there as well. Sometimes we feel compelled to apologize for not being technical. Or say this is a technical role, or we need testers to be more technical. Those say nothing about what you're actually trying to say and do nothing to help alleviate whatever problem there might be that you're there to solve. And the biggest thing, though, is that by describing people as non-technical, you're describing them by what they aren't, not what they are. And it gets worse when paired with testing. In a lot of places, or some places, non-technical testing means manually writing test scripts in English or some other language and having a person execute them, while technical testing is manually writing test scripts in Java or some other language and having a machine executing them. In other words, replacing this with this. I have a definition for how we might use technical and non-technical going forward. So I am now using the word technical only to describe aspects of a product, service, or space, such as the infrastructure, code, configurations, that kind of thing. So technical relates to technology. And non-technical are used to relate to, say, a human or social aspect of a product, service, or space, such as purpose, usability, safety, etc. So we might look at these risk domains and then think about them in terms of technical risks and social/human risks. And we can talk about technology-centered testing. So instead of saying technical testing is testing done by technical people, we can say technical testing or technology-centered testing is proactively investigating, identifying, and reporting on technological risks, while human-centered testing is proactively investigating, identifying, and reporting on human risks. So what can we start doing? Well, let's be specific instead of just throwing around the word technical. So instead of saying we need technical testers, say we need people who can help us analyze and mitigate our technical risks. Focus on observable skills rather than saying this is a technical role, which could mean anything. Say, okay, an intermediate level of SQL is needed, for example. Or I need to learn more about the Selenium framework rather than I need to be more technical in my role. Work out what you're actually trying to articulate and say that. Don't say he doesn't have people skills, for example. Say he has difficult articulating his findings with stakeholders. And speak in terms of what you can do rather than what you can't yet do. I can't code versus I haven't spent time learning to code yet. Just about anyone could learn to code given enough time and energy, but not everyone chooses to do that, and that's okay. Don't say that you're non-technical, but rather say what you are. For example, I might say that I specialize in heuristic usability evaluations. Recognize that you are multidimensional and that multidimensional teams are stronger than unidimensional teams. So in conclusion, technology development contains a lot of risks, both technical and non-technical or human and social. Not only that, but we have risks that are external facing, but also risks that affect the team themselves. The future of testing needs a variety of skills, people, and knowledge. So therefore, instead of trying to be more technical, try to find the intersection of what's needed and what you enjoy. Let's eliminate technical and non-technical when we describe people and instead use it to just describe risks relating to a product. Cool. Thank you.